Ndaweni was just an ego man. He's just an egomaniac. He's low self-esteem, insecure, um, greedy, um, nasty, just a parasite, right? That's how I view him as a character. Hello, my name is Masikana Mungulwa and welcome to I Am Masikana TV. This is the book that we're going to be covering this week. The author is R.L. Peteni. It's based in South Africa. Xhosa tribe versus each other. R.L. Peteni was born in 1915 at Zing. I feel like the CU is a sound, so I'm just gonna try and click it out. Zing Tuka. In the South African Ciskei. He went to Lovedale and then to the University College of Fort Hare. He has been a teacher and a headmaster at primary and secondary schools in many parts of South Africa. He is a leading member of the African Teachers Association of South Africa and is a lay preacher in the Presbyterian Church of Africa. In 1969, he became a lecturer in English in the University of Fort Hare. There is a bitter rivalry between the Hlubi village, which lies below the Hills of Fools, and the Tembu village beyond the Xesi River. Fights break out regularly. Zuziwe, a Hlubi girl, is engaged to Ntaweni, who is much older than she is. Ntaweni is a prosperous farmer and a king churchman and has been proudly accepted by a family as a future husband. But she falls in love with Buka, one of the following Tembu warriors. Her fiance tries to win her back, but in so doing provokes yet another fight between the villages, in which Zuziwe's brother is killed, probably by her lover. She discovers she is going to bear Buka's child, and then onward the tragedy develops with a classical force. This book, in essence, is Romeo and Juliet. Tragic love that doesn't have responsibilities, that is just infatuated with each other, that it doesn't really see who it's going to destroy, and then it consumes everything around it. And this is what this relationship is about. So Zuziwa was a very beautiful girl. She was the undeclared beauty queen of the Hlubi village. She was the only daughter, right, in a family of 5 children, and being the child of Mr. and Mrs. Langa's old age, she was rather spoiled. Exquisitely beautiful young woman, lovely face, shapely curves. Her major character traits are willful, sensitive, compassionate, and proud. And her motivation, she wants peaceful coexistence to replace feeding, wants to nurture Buka's love and her unborn child in marriage. And it's easy for her, the main character Zuziwa, to want peace, because you know, when you're the only female, you sometimes live in the naivety of the safety that is provided to you by the male figures in your house. I mean, in the first scene of the book, the girls are already attacking her because they can sense her energy. Now, when she goes out from her safe space, she's considered a hoe. Everything that her reality is at home is so different from when she goes out. So when she goes to the river, she gets crucified and hurt by other women because of the fact that she's so different. She doesn't realize how much of a threat she is. There's not a point where they show her really fighting back within the book until maybe she's with her, she starts her affair. That's when she starts fighting back and starts noticing certain things and start really not caring what people around her think. So what happened with her is, because she couldn't adapt, she got basically swallowed up by the system at the end of the book. He's not marrying her because he loves her or anything like that. He's marrying her purely based for his own selfish low self-esteem. He's the one that causes the most conflict. He's the one that causes the most separation. He's just that character that's there to just create a mess. He's the storm. His ego is just so bloody big, and he's insecure about a lot of things. She wasn't into him from the beginning. It was an arranged marriage. Her parents was like, okay, we want you to Zuziwa, go get married to this man. Why? Because he's got farms and he'll be able to protect you financially. He'll be able to take care of you. He's got respect from the village. He is a priest. In rural areas, not villages, in rural areas, they try to get their daughter married off at a young age, and for her safety, less of love, the romanticism of love, which is usually what your first love is, but more for future comfortability. You know, you're a really pretty girl. If you don't get married at a young age, you won't have anything that protects you. Even though the man makes it clear that they're not in love with you, they're just using you as a trophy, you are supposed to be fine and learn how to love him. And that's how it's generational. Like, her mom did it that way, her grandmother did it that way, and other families around her are gonna do it that way. So women are not really given much of a choice as to how or who they marry. So the more affluent your family is, the more you want to marry into an affluent family. It's not much of the character of the individual that you're marrying, but it's more of the possessions. Ntabeni was just an ego man. He's just an egomaniac. He's low self-esteem, insecure, greedy, nasty, just a parasite, right? That's how I view him as a character. However, in the community, he's a powerful, rich provider. As much as Ntabeni is a hot mess, he was stable. Bukka is a warrior, and he's ready. He's with the ish. He's ready to fight right now, which leads him to being very disastrous in a way, but very indecisive, very rugged, very raw, very egotistical in his own way, in terms of he's naive, so he's easily manipulatable, which is what Ntabeni does at the end, and manipulates the whole situation and creates an event that he's able to then cause the different tribes to fight, which they've always been doing. So they're all from different tribes. So Zuziwa is from a different tribe, Bukka is from a different tribe. So Ntabeni created it because his authority in the village, for having a young boy who doesn't have anything, who doesn't have, at least in terms of the things that he has, you know, he barely got circumcised, and now that young boy is able to then take his wife. There is no way that a man with the ego like Ntabeni would let that happen. If it's possible, within the chaos that Ntabeni created from afar, someone can then go and kill Bukka. He gets to swoop in and rescues Zazua. It's not really for her, it's more for his pride. Bukka is just everywhere. He's just getting leadership. His ego is there, and if someone says let's fight, you will not disrespect me, let me beat my chest, let me go and fight. The way that she even met Bukka was through her cousins, which is in a different village. Now, when she met him, her cousin was loyal to him. So when he said let's go to war, which is her young affair, said like let's go to war, he was ready, and in turn he got killed, which caused a little bit more controversy, a little more strife within the relationship between those two, between their affair. It caused a lot more conflict. Now, she probably wouldn't figure out that it was her husband that she rejected, because ultimately she rejected Ntabeni because she was like, I want to be with warrior, we can build something. And it goes back to me saying there's this illusion when it comes to young love of we can do grand things, but it tends to become very toxic at some point if not managed properly, because there's just such high expectations. So it tends to be self-destructive and fiery passionate, but sometimes too much passion is not, it's never gonna be a good thing. So with it being that, and with it causing that much strife within the community, it's combustive. So she got frustrated because Buka was not making the decision to make it official, and he was being realistic in terms of they're dealing with so many things. They're dealing with the tribal wars, they're dealing with apartheid, they're dealing with not having education. He's a young warrior and he wants to fight so many causes, and the relationship is just not what it is. And already on his side, there's already an arranged marriage on his side, and Ndabeni's sister doesn't really like Zuziwa. They're jealous of her, so they fight her at every chance, and they get a bigger reason to fight her when they realize that she has disrespected their brother, who is the sole provider in their household. Do you see how complicated this gets? Ndabeni lost because she's like, no, even if there's a war, even if my cousin is dead, I like Buka and I want to make a relationship work with him, right? So to further disrespect him, she gets pregnant with his child, right? And obviously now the families are up in arms. Her brothers are pissed off. There's this one brother who's very vocal about how he does not like the affair. He's very vocal about how he's very hurt and feels disrespected that Zuziwa went and got pregnant by Buka, who is a warrior who cannot provide for her. So the mother is on some, listen, why don't you just go apologize to Ntabeni, and you guys trying to make the marriage work for the sake of the child, the coming child. And Zuzi was not hearing none of that. Mind you, she's young, so she doesn't really know how to deal with doesn't have the wisdom to deal with complex emotions. She goes and gets like an abortion, and it's back in those days. Those abortions were not safe, and it ended up killing her. This book right here, it explores so many family dynamics, traditional dynamics, human dynamics. You know, Daveni, his ego couldn't take it. There was a point where he had to go consult a whole witch doctor so that he can deal with Buka. Zuziwa, her mental and emotional state wasn't at a point where she could really grasp the type of change that she's putting in effect with her family, how she's breaking certain traditions. And all of this tragedy could have been avoided if people just sit still and were like, okay, ego aside, let's fix this. Hills of Fools, like everybody in this book was a fool in how they managed the situation and created a situation which just made three people, did like a whole domino effect for everyone, and everything just exploded and fell apart because of three humans. And I really think that the author took us on a journey with this one. It's an old book. Probably was written in the 80s or something. Author is not young looking, see, but I really like it. I really think that people should read it. It's African. I feel like there's no African author that I'm not gonna be like, hey, this is it. The character development is always gonna be exquisite. You see so much in the characters, and I think that African people know how to write narcissism so well. They know how to write. Oh my goodness, like African books, they're having the emotions because they never have a happy ending, and I feel like Africa's story as a whole does not have a happy ending. It's still in progress. So in essence, everybody, the villagers, the main characters, the warriors, everybody in this book was a fool. They were all fools. What a way to, and they were all fools. And therefore, that's why they would go and fight in the hill of fools. And them being so foolish it led to tragic events. But in their own way, being fools, they changed history and they rewrote. And then Zuziwa and Buka rewrote Romeo and Juliet, Dareni, Ego, Fat King, Game of Thrones, and family sophistication for one. There's just so many dynamics within this book. Like, one video would not be enough for me to just address all the dynamics within the book. And yeah, my name is Masikana Mungulwa. Thank you for joining me on I Am Masikana TV and Reading with Masikana. And we did a review mainly on characters of Hills of Fools. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please like, subscribe, comment, and like I said in the video, if you'd like me to read to you books instead of doing reviews on books, I can do that.